Hi everybody, today I'm going to talk about the Metroid series. I originally played Metroid on the NES. That game totally changed my gaming life. Ever since then, I have bought every Metroid game and played and beat every Metroid game, except for Federation Force on the DS. To me, it doesn't look like a Metroid game. It looks like they took some kid's game and reskinned it to become a Metroid game. I'm not sure, but I haven't gotten around to that and I don't own it. But all the other games I have played through and beat them, and that includes the handheld ones, that includes the 3D ones on the Gamecube, that includes the Wii one, Prime 3 Corruption, and I've also beat the other Wii one. Yeah. But what I like about the games is the exploration. You start off weak and you become more powerful through the exploration. I like how you can take your time if you want. It's a very well-programmed series. I like it so much that I not only beat all these games, I completed them 100%, except for one. Metroid Dread. I was not able to 100% complete this because there's these things called Shine Spark puzzles. I couldn't solve them all. But my love for these games is not the point of this video. I want to talk about the pricing of these games. I know it's not everyone's favorite topic, but if you collect video games at all, pricing is part of what you have to think about. And I really want to know if these prices have changed a lot since Metroid Prime Remastered has come out. At the time of this video, it's a very hard to find game. I keep trying to check my local stores for a physical copy and I could not find any. But everyone is talking about this game and how good it is. Now, I already beat the original, so I'm not in a big hurry, but I am happy that people are talking about Metroid again. And I'm thinking with all this buzz, maybe people are going out and buying these other games, and maybe it's revived interest. Also, it hasn't been that long since Metroid Dread has come out, and I'm wondering if that had an effect on the overall pricing of these games. Now, luckily, there is a website that tracks the pricing of video games. There may be more than one of these websites, but I use pricecharting.com. I'm not affiliated with them. It's a free website. It's a good tool for tracking pricing trends, and it's also the same tool that a lot of used game stores use when they're pricing their merchandise that's on the shelf. It's a very well-known website, and if you're a collector, you should get to know it a little bit. I do want to take you onto my computer, and we'll look at the prices of these games and see how they're trending right now and see if there's anything interesting we can get from looking at those prices. Here is the price charting website, and I'll just click into it, and from here I'll just do a search on Metroid. What this site does is it takes the average price of eBay games and sees what games are selling and what the prices are when they sell. I want to start by checking the NES version of Metroid, so I'm going to click into it here. So this blue line indicates the price of a loose game and how much it goes for, and you can see it goes back quite a bit here. During the pandemic, prices across the board for most game systems did go up, so we do have to account for that as we're looking at the data here. The pandemic price increases mostly happened from January 2021 to February 2022. After that, most game prices plateaued, and some of them are actually coming down since February 2022. So looking here, I do see Metroid did have quite a big jump from $18 to $29 during that time period I was talking about. Metroid Dread came out in October 2021. During that time, this game actually came down, so the release of Metroid Dread did not seem to affect the prices going for this NES game. And I don't see any bump at the end for the Metroid Prime Remastered release. It's gone down a tiny bit. It's only been a month since it got released. If there is any kind of reaction, you would see it at the tail end of these graphs. Now, this is loose prices. Let's look at complete in box. And the loose prices still appear on this chart, but as you can see, there's a lot more fluctuation in the complete in box prices, and they jumped from 2021 to January 2022. There is something else at play here here that I should mention, and that is there was an explosion in prices for unopened boxes of games, graded boxes of games, around August 2021. There was a Mario game that sold for millions of dollars. It was a sealed and graded game, and a lot of news outlets picked up on that story, and we saw a big boom in that market. Since then, the boom has kind of come down. They do have a graded bar that we can make appear on here, so let's click that, and we do see a big jump during that time period. According to this, there were some copies that sold for around 45,000 of this game that were graded. But anyway, I probably won't be checking too many more graded prices throughout this video because I'm mainly trying to see if the recent Metroid releases have affected the overall series. So let's go to Super Metroid. And we have quite a big jump from January 2021 to June 2021, and this is the price for loose copies. I would say that this is all related to the pandemic. Super Nintendo games became very popular during that time. Now, we mentioned Dread released in October 2021, which is during that same time period, but by the time it got to October 2021, the price had leveled off. Let's look here at the complete in box. Not much there. It's staying within a range here and going up and down. Complete in box, there's not as many data points, so that's why it jumps up and down more and more because there's fewer of these that get sold on eBay. Let's look at Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. It looks like there was a rise after Dread came out, so this may have been affected by Dread, but if it was, it didn't stay, and now it's back down to the low 30s, and it didn't get a bump from the Remastered coming out. So I'm starting to see that this new buzz around the Metroid universe, it isn't carrying over to game prices. We'll take a quick look, complete in box right here. It came all the way up, and now it's coming down, so let's look at Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. By the way, let me know if you like these types of videos where I talk about pricing. I've done a few in the past, or maybe I've just done one in the past, I'm not sure. So let me know if it's interesting. So the loose price of this shot up big time during the pandemic, and it actually peaked at the time Dread came out, and then it came all the way back down. So Dread did not have much an effect. It does look like there's a little bit of a rise recently. Let's take a look at Complete in Box. Oh my lord, this is a very popular game. Let's do Metroid Zero Mission, also on the Game Boy Advance. So once again, it peaked until Dread came out, and then it came back down. And I'm not sure why it follows the same exact pattern, but look at that pandemic price increase though. I mean, it goes from 40 all the way to 105 for loose. That is quite a substantial increase. Complete in box, and just for the heck of it, let's see what graded looks like. Lord, it's up and down all the time. All right, so let's jump over to Metroid Prime. This is the game that's getting re-released. How does that affect the old copies? We're gonna see in a second. So this is on the Gamecube, and you know what? I don't think it affected it at all. Like I said, it's only been a month, so it did jump from 35 to 40, but it had been around 40 for a while. This is one that didn't rise as much during the pandemic. They sold a lot of this game, and it's easy to find. I think that's why it's not affected by all these things going on. You know, it defaulted to complete in box. Let's look at loose. Not that many people are walking around with loose Gamecube games, but it follows a similar pattern. Let's look at Prime 2. Echoes, also on the Gamecube. That had more of a rise during the pandemic than the other one, but it's actually come down in the last month. So there's actually not an increase in interest of Metroid Prime Echoes. Maybe it's because people are thinking that this one's going to get re-released, and that's what the rumors are. If that's so, some people might be trying to get rid of this game, and so there's more of them on eBay, which makes the overall price fall down. Why would you go buy an older version of a game that's gonna get re-released? I don't know, maybe if you want to play it ahead of time or something. Let's just jump to 3. Prime 3 Corruption. Once again, it has fallen in the past month. This one has not seen that much of an increase. This is a very common Wii game, and Wii games have never really been that hot, even during the pandemic, so this doesn't surprise me. Of course, you had Metroid Prime Remastered, which combined all those games. No, it wasn't called Remastered, Prime Trilogy. Let's see how this has been affected. And I see no recent change. This was a limited release. It has stayed in the hundreds. If they go through and re-release all 3 of these, the price of this might come down. This would become the outdated version. For the hell of it, we're gonna look at Prime Pinball. This was on the DS. If I could spell. Whoa, that really jumped during the pandemic. This is the loose price. Let's do complete in box. And it went from 50 to 100 to 126, all within a few months. And Dread came out in October, so that's actually when this came down. That was the worst time to buy Metroid games during September 2021. Since then, it has leveled off, but there's not been an increase with the release of Remastered. This is a very excellent game, by the way. If you like pinball, you'll like this game. If you like Metroid, but don't like pinball, I wouldn't recommend this game. It's not gonna reveal anything with the story that you don't already know. It takes place in the Prime universe. We also have Prime Hunters for the DS, so let's look that up. By the way, if there's an orange thing over here, it means I have that game in my collection because I am actually logged in and this site knows what games I own. I have my entire collection logged into this site. But Metroid Prime Hunters, not the biggest hit, but man, it gained in popularity during the pandemic. And it's been kind of a roller coaster, and it is on the increase right now, so we'll keep our eye on that. It's defaulting to loose. Let's look at complete in box. Whoa, Nelly, $68. September 2021 to October 2021. What was going on? Oh, well, the release of Metroid Dread, but it seems like that cooled the Metroid market for some reason. I don't know. Maybe as Dread approaches, people were buying up the Metroid games so they can test them out. Maybe they haven't played them yet. Maybe they were curious. Maybe they wanted to get caught up with the story because I believe Metroid Dread takes place after all those games. So that might explain it. And then afterward, once everyone's done with the game, they toss it back out to eBay. And this one has experienced quite a jump in the past month, so this might be affected by Metroid Prime Remastered. It's hard to say. Let's look up Metroid Other M. This is the game that kind of cooled the franchise off for quite a number of years. I think Nintendo had some wounded pride from this game because it was not very well received. It looks great for a Wii game, but I didn't like it as much as the other games. I don't like some of the choices they made with the character and how they introduced like ultra violence to it all. Once again, this peaked like the other ones and then it's come down, but now it's on its way back up. I don't think we'll ever see a remaster of this game, so I think it will increase in price over time. This is a very common game though, and you can see this dead period where it was selling for like $6 or $7. That's an amazing journey. So what do we got left? Samus Returns for the 3DS. I don't like how it underlines her name, so let's add to dictionary. This one has been the most stable of all the Metroid games. It just sells in the 30s and it has for many years. Not much going on. It has bucked all the other trends. Let's look at Metroid Dread. This one's still on the market, so I don't think there's going to be anything here that we don't already know. I'm going to add Metroid to my dictionary as well. There we go. It's very stable. This graph is also stretched out because this has only been out for a couple years, and the complete in box is selling for just below 40. So what I said earlier about me beating every single Metroid game except for one, Federation Force, that bothers me because if I'm going to dedicate myself to this entire series, it doesn't make sense for me not to play that one game. I assume since it was a flop and it's not very popular, it's going to be very cheap. So I'm going to go ahead and order it and beat it just so I can say I beat the entire series. Until Metroid Prime 4 comes out, that is. So let's go look at the price for that and see how much it is. Federation Force. Let's do complete in box. The one game in the series I don't have. Why is it rising like that? Well, let me know if you know any good DS emulators, because I don't think I'm gonna buy that. So hopefully you found this video interesting. There's a link on the screen to another video that YouTube thinks you would enjoy, so feel free to watch that. Have fun, everybody.